Celia, good morning to you. The couple confirming this in a statement we're about to show you. The couple filing for divorce in Manhattan Supreme Court.
For years, she stayed completely quiet. While the Trump family made headlines every single day, one person chose to disappear into the shadows. Vanessa Trump, the ex-wife of Donald Trump Jr., became almost invisible after her divorce. She gave no interviews, wrote no books, and stayed off social media completely. But recently, something changed. At 47 years old, Vanessa Trump has finally started to break her silence. And what she's revealing might shock you. You see, Vanessa wasn't always hiding in the background. She used to be right there in the spotlight, married into America's most famous political family. But after 13 years of marriage and 5 children together, she walked away from it all. And for 6 long years, she said absolutely nothing about what really happened behind closed doors, until now. Let me tell you the incredible story of Vanessa Trump, a woman who chose silence over fame, privacy over profit, and who might finally be ready to share her side of one of the most talked about divorces in American politics. Before she became a Trump, Vanessa was just a regular girl from New York City. Well, maybe not completely regular. She grew up on the Upper East Side, which is one of the fanciest neighborhoods in Manhattan. Her dad, Charles Hayden, was a successful lawyer, and her mom, Bonnie, ran a modeling agency. So Vanessa got to see 2 very different worlds growing up. One side was all about law and business, while the other side was about fashion and glamour. As a teenager, Vanessa chose the glamour side. She signed with a big modeling agency called Wilhelmina Models, and started walking on runways and doing photo shoots for magazines. People who knew her back then said she was graceful and always looked perfect, but she wasn't loud or attention-seeking. She had this quiet confidence that made people notice her without her having to say much at all. Donald Jr. was loud, political, and always seemed to be in some kind of controversy or argument. He loved being on TV, giving speeches, and stirring up drama on social media. Vanessa, on the other hand, was quiet, traditional, and focused on family life. She seemed to care more about raising their children than being famous or getting attention. And that's exactly what she did for the next 13 years. While other members of the Trump family were constantly in the news, building personal brands, writing books, and starting businesses, Vanessa chose a completely different path. She focused on being a mom to their 5 kids, and staying as far away from the spotlight as possible. This was really unusual for someone married into the Trump family. Think about it. Ivanka Trump was always front and center, with her own fashion line, TV appearances, and eventually a role in the White House. Melania Trump became First Lady and was constantly photographed and discussed in the media. But Vanessa, she was almost like a ghost. She rarely appeared at political events, hardly ever gave interviews, and you could barely find any photos of her at Trump rallies or campaign events. Some people might think this meant she was weak or unimportant, but I think it was actually the opposite. In a family where attention and media coverage seemed to be like money, Vanessa's choice to stay private was actually really powerful. She was basically saying, "I don't need to be famous to matter. I don't need to be on TV to be valuable." Friends who knew her during this time described her as incredibly loyal, but also very guarded. They said she seemed a bit isolated, like she was trying really hard to protect herself and her children from all the craziness that came with being part of the Trump family. And honestly, can you blame her? When Donald Trump became president in 2016, things got even more eye-giving interviews. But Vanessa did none of those things. She just quietly walked away. One of the smartest things she did was move the divorce proceedings to a private courtroom. This meant that all the details about money, child custody, and legal agreements would be kept secret from the public and the media. Legal experts said this was really unusual and showed that Vanessa was being very strategic about protecting her privacy and her children's future. And it worked. To this day, nobody knows exactly what the divorce settlement included. There are rumors that she got a huge amount of money, maybe even to ensure she would stay quiet about family secrets. But nothing has been confirmed because everything was handled so privately. During this whole process, stories about Donald Jr.'s alleged affair started coming back up in the news. The rumors were about him having a relationship with a singer named Aubrey O'Day back in 2011 or 2012, while Vanessa was pregnant with their third child. The singer had even released a song with the initials DJT and had hinted in interviews that it was about a real relationship she couldn't talk about publicly. Imagine finding out that your husband might have been cheating on you while you were pregnant and taking care of 2 other young children. That kind of betrayal would be devastating for anyone, but especially for someone like Vanessa, who had dedicated her entire adult life to her family and marriage. People who knew Vanessa said she was deeply hurt by these revelations, but she handled it with incredible strength and dignity. Instead of lashing out or seeking revenge, she took time to make a careful plan. She consulted with lawyers, talked to her family, and made sure she was making the right decisions for herself and her children. Her mother, Bonnie, played a really important role during this time. As someone who had run a mode, Trump family, reports suggest that Vanessa started going to therapy to help deal with everything she had been through. This wasn't just about the divorce or the cheating rumors. It was about the stress of living under constant media attention, the pressure of raising children in the public eye, and the emotional toll of building a life that she eventually had to tear down and start over. For 6 years, Vanessa maintained this complete silence. She didn't defend Donald Jr. when he was criticized, didn't support or oppose any political campaigns, and didn't share her opinions about anything related to the Trump family or politics. In a world where everyone seemed to have something to say about everything, Vanessa's silence actually made her more interesting and respected. People began to wonder, what did she know? What had she seen during her years as part of the Trump inner circle? What stories could she tell about life behind the scenes during some of the most controversial years in American politics? And why wasn't she talking? Some people thought she was staying quiet because of legal agreements she had signed as part of her divorce. Others believed she was protecting her children from more media attention. And some wondered if she was just naturally a private person who didn't want to become a public figure in her own right. But then, in early 2025, something changed. After years of staying completely off social media, Vanessa Trump made a single Instagram post that caught everyone's attention. It wasn't a long message or a dramatic announcement. In fact, she didn't even write anything at all. She simply reposted something from Tiger Woods about a charity project he was working on. Now, this might not sound like a big deal, but for someone who had been completely silent for years, even this small action felt huge. People immediately started analyzing what it meant. Donald Jr. While Donald Jr. is loud, political, and constantly involved in controversy, Tiger stays mostly neutral on political issues and focuses on his golf career and charitable work. For Vanessa, who spent years trying to stay away from politics and drama, Tiger might represent the kind of stable, private life she's looking for. The Instagram post caused immediate excitement in the media. Some reporters called it a quiet debut of her new relationship. Others saw it as the beginning of Vanessa stepping back into public life, maybe even preparing to share her story more openly in the future. Within days of that single social media post, people were speculating about what might come next. Would Vanessa finally give interviews about her time in the Trump family? Was she planning to write a book about her experiences? Or was this just a natural progression of someone who was ready to live more openly after years of staying hidden? What makes this situation particularly interesting is the timing. The Trump family is still very much in the political spotlight, with Donald Trump having won the 2024 presidential election and returned to the White House. Meanwhile, Donald Jr. continues to be a vocal political figure, giving speeches and maintaining a high public profile. For Vanessa to emerge from her silence right now, when the Trump name is once again dominating headlines, feels significant. Some people within the Trump circle are reportedly concerned about what Vanessa might know and what she might eventually share. After all, she was there during some of the most important years of the Trump political rise. She witnessed family meetings, heard private conversations, and saw how decisions were made behind closed doors. The fact that she has stayed silent for so long actually makes her potential voice more powerful. Unlike other people who have left the Trump orbit and immediately started writing books or giving interviews, Vanessa's years of silence have given her credibility. If she ever does decide to speak openly, people will listen because she's not seen as someone who's just seeking attention or trying to make money off her connection to the family. Her relationship with Tiger Woods, if it's real, also represents something important. It shows that Vanessa is moving forward with her life and creating new connections based on who she is now, not who she used to be when she was married to Donald Jr. Tiger Woods is successful, respected, and focuses on positive contributions to society through his charity work. This is very different from the political controversy and media drama that surrounded her previous life. What we're seeing now might be the beginning of a new chapter for Vanessa Trump. At 47 years old, she's finally in a position where she can make choices based on what she wants, not what's expected of her as a Trump family member. She's financially secure, her children are getting older and more independent, and she's had time to heal from the trauma of her divorce and the years of living under intense public scrutiny. The question now is, what will she do with this newfound freedom? Will she continue to slowly emerge into public view, maybe through charity work or other positive activities? Will she eventually share her story, either through interviews, a book, or documentary? Or will she find a way to live a more open life while still maintaining the privacy that has served her so well? One thing is certain, Vanessa Trump is no longer the quiet, invisible figure she was during her marriage and in the years immediately following her divorce. She's making deliberate choices about how and when to be seen, and those choices are getting people's attention. Her approach is still characteristically careful and strategic. She's not making loud announcements or seeking out media attention. Instead, she's taking small, measured steps that allow her to control her own narrative while gradually becoming more visible to the public. This is actually quite brilliant when you think about it. In a world where everyone seems to be shouting for attention, Vanessa's quiet approach stands out. She's showing that you don't have to be loud or controversial to be powerful. Sometimes the most effective way to get people's attention is to speak softly and make every word count. The fact that she's potentially found love again with someone like Tiger Woods also sends a powerful message. It shows that despite everything she went through with her marriage to Donald Jr., she's not bitter or closed off to new relationships. She's willing to take risks and open her heart again, which takes real courage. As we watch this story continue to unfold, it's clear that Vanessa Trump is writing a new chapter of her life on her own terms. After years of being defined by her relationship to the Trump family, she's finally stepping into her own identity. And while she may never become a loud, outspoken public figure, her quiet strength and dignity are already making a statement. The woman who once chose silence over fame, privacy over profit, and family over politics is showing us that there are many different ways to be powerful. Sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is wait, watch, and choose your moments carefully. And at 47, Vanessa Trump is finally ready to have her moment. Whether his leads to more revelations about her time in the Trump family, more openness about her new relationship, or simply a more visible but still private life, one thing is clear. Vanessa Trump is no longer hiding. She's ready to be seen, on her own terms, and the world is watching to see what comes next. Her story is a reminder that everyone deserves the chance to reinvent themselves, to heal from their past, and to choose their own path forward. For years, Vanessa sacrificed her own identity to be part of someone else's story. Now, finally, she's ready to write her own. So there you have it. The incredible story of how Vanessa Trump went from silent shadow to emerging voice. After 6 years of complete privacy, she's finally starting to break her silence, and it's happening in the most Vanessa way possible. Quietly, carefully, and completely on her own terms. What do you think about Vanessa's approach to handling her divorce and her years of silence? Do you believe she'll eventually share more about her time in the Trump family? And what about her rumored relationship with Tiger Woods? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. Stories like this show us that there's always more than meets the eye, and sometimes the most interesting people are the ones who choose to stay quiet until they're ready to speak. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest videos about the most intriguing stories in politics, celebrity life, and everything in between. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.